I am kicking myself for letting Kageki Shojo kind of slip through the cracks here recently. Usually, whenever I get into the first impressions, trying to cover all the shows, certain shows just, don't hit the weekly impressions, so I kind of hold them on hold until I get everything caught up. But definitely regretting at this point. This series is definitely taking off. I knew that I was going to like this series just based on the idea of the review itself and what they were kind of getting into. It was stuff that I really am interested in. I had my misgivings with things like and not liking her personality, but I knew they were going to eventually explain her, and sure enough, they did. But this is my impressions of episode 3 through 5. I got a lot of show to cover, so let's jump right into it. To keep this impressions from being extremely long, I'm going to just kind of hit the key points for each of these characters as these 3 episodes went along. Obviously, the biggest one was with Ai and Narata. Obviously, we get a perspective that this guy is following her, this guy that knew her from JPX, sorry. And he's obviously trying to see her, and we just assume that he's some evil stalker, so it's got this kind of very dark, glim look to him every time he's following behind her. But yeah, eventually he does end up finding her. At the same time, you do have Sarasa trying to become friends with Ai, and Ai essentially rejecting her. And at some point, again, this otaku ends up seeing her. She panics and runs. And it was nice because her cousin, I think it's cousin or uncle, Tachi, ends up going, yeah, Sarasa, why don't you walk her home? Because Sarasa's like, I'll walk you home, it's fine. And yeah, they end up getting confronted. Ai runs and leaves her behind, ends up regretting this later on, saying she basically abandoned her to a random stranger. And when she comes back, seeing that they're all dancing together and having fun really makes her mad. But yeah, it was kind of cute in the idea that she did feel regret for what she was doing, despite the fact that you see that Ai does not like her. She's constantly going, she just keeps pushing herself in my life. I don't want to have anything to do with her. I don't want any friends. I have you. And yeah, she just needs to get out of my life. But obviously she changed her mind once she realizes that this was a scary thing that she did. But yeah, you end up finding out this otaku he just wants to apologize to her because he was a NEET, and through watching her on the stage and seeing her smile very briefly on a show, he fell in love with her and wanted to support her. And when he went to one of her shows, he held her hand for too long, said that he loved her, and she said that he's gross, and for this reason, she got fired. And so he feels regret, like he caused her to get fired, and he wants to apologize to her. And we'll find out later when she ends up running away again, that basically using his connections, or at least his ability to search for her image on the internet, he ends up finding where she's at and comes there and protects her from some guys that know who she was and was harassing her. And it was really cute at the end of this scene because she both acknowledges the fact that Sarasa helped her, and she also acknowledges that this guy is not a bad guy, that not all men are bad. But in her attempts to kind of thank him and apologize, she was handing this handkerchief to him, and she drops it, and she's like, I didn't mean to drop it. It's just, this is as much as I can do. This is as far as I can go with another male. So yeah, that was definitely cute. Obviously, the big thing with Ai's story was her backstory. Finding out why she is so anti-men, why she's so fearful. I guess it's a phobia. It's not really anti. She's got a phobia of men, and she seeks out to go to this whole Coca thing because she wants to be around nothing but girls. She doesn't want to be around men. And it was really... This is what sucks, because I knew that they were going to get into her and explain why she is the way she is, why she has this phobia, and why she's such a jerk to people. But it's one of those things where you regret what you asked for, because as it gets into it, granted, I'm thankful that it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's still technically, through her mind as a child, just as bad. Like, the assumption is like, oh no, the mother brings home some creepy guy. I know exactly where this is going to go. And then it doesn't go there, but it's equally as bad in the eyes of this innocent child, and it makes it equally as bad. But yeah, essentially, her mother is always working hard to support her. She's a very beautiful girl. She doesn't know who her father was. Everybody wants to know who her father is because her mother's, this famous person, and she doesn't know. But at some point, her mother brings home some random guy so that he's going to stay there for a while. He keeps making random comments that are really creepy and these looks, and eventually her mother leaves him behind with Ai, And that's when one day when she comes home, she didn't want to go home because she knew that he was there. And yeah, he pretty much grabs her and forces her to kiss him. Not only that, but sticks his tongue in the mouth. So it's just like, holy crap, this is disgusting. But like I said, this idea of it being in her eyes just as bad as what or I was at least, assuming how far this was going to go, like there was going to be an actual rape happening. It's equally as bad in her eyes because she viewed that as that act. She thought that she was going to get pregnant. Like, it shows her actually binding her stomach, afraid that her stomach is going to grow. She thought this was equally as bad. All these things that the students at her school were saying about her mother and how she keeps kissing on and she's going to get pregnant. She thought, based on what they were saying about her mother kissing people on television, that she was going to get pregnant. And this terrified her, like traumatized her, because she thought she was no longer, well, she's assuming that she's no longer pure. She's assuming that she's now pregnant. This is going to ruin her life. And she's disgusted by this at the same time. And that trauma in her just completely ruins herself. Like, she is afraid of people. She's afraid of the concept of her beauty. She thinks that everything is disgusting. She's going to let her mother down. All this stuff, and again, the only solace, only protection she gets is from Tachi showing up and saying, "I'm here for you. I locked the door for you like you asked. Here's a key to my place. If you ever are in danger, come there." Really, really fantastic. Taichi's amazing. Really, I mean, even throughout the entirety of these 3 episodes, there's all these little moments with Taichi. You know, his conversation with the otaku. It's just funny, this idea of this otaku, like his name constantly changing. All these aspects are really what shape her. And like I said, I still think she's annoying and mean, but I understand why she's annoying and mean now. So it's like, if somebody were to punch me, I would be upset that they punched me. If I found out that the reason they punched me is because they were punched a bunch by their father, doesn't change the fact that I was still punched. I just now understand why he punched me. So that's my point of view. I really feel for her now. But it doesn't change the fact that, yeah, she was annoying. Thankfully, yeah, going into the 4th episode or the 5th episode, she definitely has changed at this point. She's inspired essentially. So, but no, getting back, of course, after this whole thing happens, she locks herself up. At some point, she learns about this all-girl idol group that is offered to her. And that's all she hears. This is like this moment of like, girl, you're dense. I'm assuming this is because you shelter yourself away so much that you're this dense. Yeah, she jumps into this all-girl idol group, not knowing that she's going to be surrounded by men who want to shake her hand because what are the audience? It's males. It makes more sense with the Coca thing because they end up mentioning the idea that with Revue, the majority of their audience is females. And so it works for her. She's around a bunch of females. Her audience is going to be females. So now that she's corrected, it doesn't work that much anymore. But yeah, she got in the Idolsville. That's when she ran into this otaku guy. The guy she said to creep, gets kicked out of this idol group, and then goes to join this Revue in order to get away from boys again. So that's basically just of her story. As we get into episode 5, that's when she sees Sarasa reenact this scene from Romeo and Juliet, and her acting is so inspiring. Everybody ends up looking up just by the fact that she acted it so well. So they found themselves pushed to look up. And in seeing Sarasa do this, she's like, I see her up there and I want to be there with her. And that's the point when she said, I want to be your friend. And that's when Sarasa is like super happy about that. But yeah. The whole scene with the otaku was great though, because like seeing Sarasa like do all these little dance routines with him, the Matrix, the Matrix pose, and then like this whole idea of like them constantly giving him different names. I think they went to like, they called him Pervert San, and they went to Stalker San, and they went to Neat Kun, and then they went to Gross Otaku, and then to Creepy Otaku. They just keep giving them different names. But it was fantastic. I like how they ended that, and the idea that she finally accepts that this guy is a good guy, and not all men are bad. So really cool, really cool. They really did manage to shape her character. I like that her hair is getting longer. I never really cared for the short hair with her particular styling. I just didn't really care much for it, but yeah, definitely turning into a very beautiful character, and the progress that she has had is absolutely fantastic. That idea of relying on other people. Now she's helping other people, even though she's really blunt about it. helping Ayako, which we'll get into in a minute, with her issues and what she's seen in the idol industry that can kind of relate to that. So yeah, Sarasa has been fantastic as well. Just the fact that she's not just a completely bubble Genki character. Like, she gives that idea with the first 2 episodes, but as we get into the further into the series, it definitely feels like she's not willing to continue that. Like, the moment that Ai says that she's not her friend, she doesn't want to be her friend, Sarasa believes it. Like, okay, you don't want to be my friend, that's fine, and she moves on. Now, granted, she's kind of, pushed a little bit by Taichi to please, continue to support her, but it wasn't until I steps forward and says, I want to be your friend. She's like, okay, cool. Let's be friends now. I didn't think you want to be my friend, so I kind of moved on. But she's always got that positive attitude, and you can already see the cast itself being affected by her. Her attitude is really shifting everybody, which is fantastic. But yeah, obviously the other big story is Ayako and what she's going through. Essentially, she's told by their instructor that, she's getting chubby and that she's not allowed to be, even though that Sarasa is like, no, she's allowed to be chubby. Some men like chubby. It's like, no, that's when we find out, the majority of our viewers are female, and they have sharp eyes. They're going to criticize this. You have to be perfect for them. They're looking for this fantasy of perfection, and you can't have no chubby belly in this situation. So this, again, sadly does lead her to purging herself, and so she doesn't keep anything down. She keeps purging herself, eating like cakes and crackers and stuff, and then purging it to clear everything out. And this is obviously affecting her. She can't sing very well. She's losing her energy. And that's really sad. And what I really liked a lot about this story is, yes, technically Ai does point it out to her. In the bathroom, she says, your back's probably hurting, right? Because I had a friend in JPX that did the same thing. And the esophagus is, and it's burning it. And this obviously, she lashes out and leaves. But it was cool that the correction and the solving really did come from the teachers. And I love that. Like, I respect so much. Now, it's fine that if, Sarasa notices it and Sarasa Genki tells her, get better, eat salad, whatever, would be fine. But I gained so much more respect for this writing and the idea that you have a lot of teachers in this particular school that should know these signs. Like, these people probably deal with this on a regular basis. They probably deal with a lot of anorexia, bulimia, all this stuff to keep perfect form. And they should know the signs. And they do. Like, they literally have these teachers go, she's obviously purging. Like, we know that she's doing this. There's all the signs are there. That's why they asked for the eating log. That's why they really kind of push this idea. And I really do like that. You do have a balance as well with this character, specifically with the teachers, and the idea that one is more positive and one is more strict than nurturing versus, essentially trying to make them stronger, because it's not an easy world for these women to live in. They have to be strong. And so you do have that nice little good cop, bad cop scenario, I guess, is really what it is for their training. But like I said, I am totally happy on the idea that this was teacher fixed, not Genki girl fix or anything like that. It basically makes it more than just about the cast of students. It makes it about this school. It makes it about this industry. And I love that. I love that choice. But yeah, I totally got emotional when that teacher went there, basically charged into this dorm, knocked on our door and said, do not give up. You have been presented this chance. You cannot give up. And of course, we find out with through Karu that basically she was there for her audition. She's seen that she can sing, and that this student or this teacher, this instructor, knew that she can sing. He did not want her to give up. This is a beautiful voice, and they definitely want it in their team. So yeah, great. Just having her come in there. The song was beautiful. Everything was fantastic. Just getting her backstory and how her sister basically gave up on everything and went straight to an office work. How she wanted to do this because her sister, she's pushing herself so much because her sister said, do it. Her sister wanted her, gave her that encouragement to do it, and was absolutely joyed that she got it. Just so great. Just such a fantastic show. Like I said, I do like the fact that Sarasa's already really kind of putting a lot of people in more of a positive light. You do have a lot of characters where, especially in the 5th episode, you're starting to see it. Everybody's stopped this kind of lashing out. I'm assuming there's still going to be some going forward, but a lot of it's really been kind of chilled out. Like we are definitely kind of getting past that that viciousness, and I think that's really just because they've figured out this is a team that's going to stick with it. They've seen the positive nature of some of these characters and the capabilities of some of them, which is really great. I got a huge kick out of who was it? Hijiri trying to like post a picture of her with this otaku and how, claim that she's got a boyfriend, posting on social media to try to get at her, and Sada's, I was like, nah, he's not my boyfriend. No, Taichi was there with us. I mean, this isn't like, wasn't even affected by it. They're like, so what do you think about this? This is gonna be really bad for you. And she's just like, no, not really. Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta go. I forgot about something. It's just, I love how she just isn't phased by it. It's so fantastic. She's a great character. So positive, so bright. I love it. But yeah, just so many good moments. Absolutely incredible series so far. Looking so much for more. I will be adding this show to my weekly impressions, so I hope you guys check out. Probably every Saturday I will be posting a video on this. Each episode as I go through them. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff to talk about in this series. Like I said, it's really hitting heavy on this industry as a whole and not just the characters, which I think is absolutely fantastic. The writing's spot on. The drama, even though some of it's very hard to watch, it is so well done. Very respectful the way they're presenting a lot of this stuff. And I'm just looking forward to so much more of this show. It has so much potential. But I'll leave it there. I know I'm going to end up remembering some really good points after I'm done recording this, but I think I've pretty much covered most of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment. Let me know what you think of the series so far, if you're checking it out, or if you're going to check it out. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I thank you all for watching, and y'all take care.